that break. My name is Nara Sende, and if you're just joining us, you are watching Our Moment. This very afternoon, it is so amazing, and we're having a very great time getting to know Dr. Emily Comfort Maractho. She's actually a senior lecturer at Uganda Christian University, but more so she has traversed the academic world, and she is actually an advocate for women. In my own words, she's the ideal woman for every lady to be a best friend. And believe me or not, if you're in this room with me, you can sense her spirit of happiness. And she's just a lovely lady. And let's continue to get to know you, Comfort.
Thank you. Now, you're being awfully generous.
Oh, really? Yes. I'm being very realistic. Okay. So let's get to know you more. And we stopped when you were telling us about what you do and the joy that comes with that. Mm-hmm. And I believe there have been some exciting moments in either your life, your career. What is that you feel has really been, significant, that you're like, it excited you and you feel like, yes, this is it?
When you live long life, I have there are many exciting moments.
Yes.
But I think that the thing that made me so happy, I remember just sitting there and feeling so happy, was having my mother with me for my PhD graduation in South Africa. And she was very proud, and my supervisor was telling her all these nice things that I didn't recognize myself. I was really blessed to have a truly amazing woman to work with as a supervisor, Professor Ruth Kia Tomaselli of KwaZulu-Natal. She was really amazing. But when she saw my mother, she was so excited, and she told her all these things. And watching my mother listen to Professor Tomaselli was really exciting. Wow. It was like, even if you, because I think for many reasons my mother worried about me when I was younger. Mm-hmm. I was a very free spirit, and
I told you.
Yes. And so the parent is always worried about will my child make it. And even though I was a very top student all the time, I was a science student and I didn't want to do sciences. So that really worried my parents. Yeah. The idea that this child is gifted in sciences, she's getting very good marks in chemistry, 80s and whatever, and she's not interested whatsoever in sciences.
Oh yeah.
And that's the rebellious part of me. I wasn't interested, and I was not going to do it. So I completed my O-level, was the best student in the school, UNEP student, did well in sciences, and the headmistress just wanted me to do sciences. Yes. I said, no, I'm not doing that. Yeah. I want to do history and literature. And I was so passionate about literature. Oh, yeah. And I applied for a different school from Vara and went and did my literature. So seeing that I had turned out all right, that my mother was there beaming with pride, that she was never going to have to remind me that you should have done sciences, was the best thing. Because sometimes, and I think you mentioned it earlier, that there's a way we look at successful people, and we sometimes think, and I'm saying this with a heavy heart, because sometimes we think that you must have done sciences to be okay, to be successful. But sciences is as important as the arts are, and we have to just appreciate that the world is good with all of us in it.
Exactly.
And the world needs all of us with good heads on our shoulders. There's no space for people with mediocrity. Yeah. Even these spaces of arts need people with good shoulders on their heads, not mediocre. So that was really exciting.
That is really nice. Isn't that every lady's dream, to make the mother proud? I feel like that is it. Once you feel like your mom is proud for a woman that comes from very deep.
Oh yeah.
And now let's twist it a little bit. Now that you had that exciting moment and you felt like, yes, what is it that has really brought you down? And you feel your heart is heavy and your spirit is heavy because something did occur or something happened.
Oh, both of them are connected. I'll relate them. When I applied to do my second master's degree in 2011, I was leaving the country, and so one of my best friends called me aside, and I think they had discussed, and then he said, what is it that you will do with all these degrees? You already have a master's degree. What do you need another master's degree for? When will you get married? And all of those things. And it's like, do you think men will want women with a lot of degrees and so on? And it was painful in a way, but I said, well, I wouldn't want a guy who doesn't appreciate me with all my intelligence and everything. So I don't want that guy.
Surely.
So I don't care.
Yeah, surely.
So I still went ahead, went to school and ABCD, and the same thing happened when I was now proceeding, because I didn't even come back. I spent 2.5 years in Nairobi and went straight to South Africa. And so my years were prolonged of studying, and everybody's concern was like, but when is she ever going to get married? And I'm thinking, I'm achieving all these things, and everybody should be happy for me. And somehow the one little thing that is big for them is that I'm not married. But thankfully my parents don't care. They didn't really put me on pressure or anything. And so when I returned with my PhD, we had, of course, family had this big party for me, and then at the party, two of my relatives came and they were like, yeah, you've got a PhD, but now what is happening, So it's like, okay, that's that, but that's not important. And this is the most important thing for me. And it's okay not to be married, to achieve things as a woman. And marriage, I keep telling people that it's something that happens because it has happened.
Yeah.
You may plan, and I don't want to plan my life around it, but I believe that someone who's worthy will be there.
Surely.
Surely. Yes, so that can be very spirit dampening, that you've achieved all these things, and if there are many people who wish they were you, and then there are those who think that you really haven't achieved because of that one thing.
Oh yeah.
And but it doesn't really matter.
I understand what you're saying, totally.
And I think women in general, if you're talking women empowerment, that should not be the thing that determines their next move all the time. Because
I think society has judged women along those lines a lot, despite all these successes that one has, and instead of appreciating that, they go to that nitty-gritty thing of, oh, is she married? Is she this? Is she, And it just fits my understanding, because someone has a lot to contribute, and someone has worked so hard, and the best you can do is like support them and just be look at the good stuff basically. And who says if you're not married, that's also like it's like the worst thing in the world. Oh my goodness.
So unless we move, and I keep saying this because society has changed, women occupy important spaces, but unless there are structural changes to that effect that allow women to be without defining them, pegging their success to a particular institution, I think a lot of women will be held back.
Surely.
Yeah. There are strong ones like me who don't care, who will still move on regardless.
So what?
But there are those who then make it a point, who become very desperate to achieve that, and then they end up in the wrong marriage, and then end up depressed, and then end up with a very unhappy life, and so on.
Due to these pressures.
Yeah, a good. I think a bad marriage is worse than no marriage.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Totally agree. Away from that, tell me, what exactly do you do when you go back home after a long day?
I cook and watch movies.
No.
Simple.
I see you. What kind of movies?
I love to cook, and then I love my tea.
Yes.
Very much. And then I watch movies. I increasingly watch off the STV. But I love drama. I love a movie with a good story.
Nice.
Yeah, so believe it or not, I watch at least 3 movies in a week. But I watch a bit of everything. I can enjoy maybe We Were Soldiers to The Vow to whatever. Yes.
Very nice. Very nice.
So I can afford a war movie.
A war movie.
Yeah.
Well, but I also wanted to ask you, what is your superpower? One thing you feel like, this is what gets me going. If it hadn't been for this thing in me, then God knows where I would have been.
I think it's a very deep faith in God.
Oh yeah.
It sounds simplistic, but it actually, I never doubt God. There are many decisions I've made that I look back and think, what was I thinking? But I actually made them in faith. I knew that. A good example is when I went for my MA in Daystar, I did not have sponsorship. I paid myself through that degree. I had no clue how it was going to happen, but I did. And I don't like to be held back. I want to, if I have a hard time, go back maybe to what Josh Groban says, going to the river. My river is church. I go to church and pray. Even if I'm alone in the church, I'll just sit there and I'll feel better.
Oh wow. Oh wow.
And I read, of course, a lot.
Yeah.
I read from the Bible to all kinds of things.
Oh, that's nice. That's a real superpower there. Isn't that what everyone needs as a superpower? Oh wow, very nice. Indeed, she's telling us about so much. Her superpower, her very dampening moments and her exciting moments she's told us. But let's come back and then we shall hear more in this last segment. My name is Nero Cinder and this is Her Moment.
In the past, women were considered housewives, housekeepers, and many other things denied any opportunity. Today we are great witnesses of the transition from the kitchen to the big offices and places of great responsibilities. Now Record TV has brought you a show, Her Moment, going to awaken, motivate, and inspire all women out there every Sunday from 5 to 6 p.m.
It is Her Moment, and indeed, today is the moment for Dr. Emily Comfort Maractho. I am so excited to be with her this Sunday afternoon. We are having a wonderful time, a tremendous time. If you join us, if you're just joining us, it's not too late though. You can still get a sneak peek on what she's all about. And let me just head back to you, Comfort. Now that we are talking about all these things that you've done, and we've looked at your education process and your current status professionally, what do you look forward to doing in the future? You know, but in regards more to what you're doing, because I feel like your life has more passion to see women actually come out, you know, talk out. Women to be more in decision making, to be involved in all these places where males are dominated. Where do you see that going?
Oh dear. Yeah. Sometimes my head is working full time. But I have hopes that in the next maybe 1 year or so, I'll have more things which are concrete. I'm currently really just mapping and seeing what do I want to do, what next do I want to do. I've been around since completing my studies for about 2 years now, and I'm beginning to really think of practical things to do. I enrolled for a course this January in leadership and at INT, and one of the things
Another course.
Don't worry about it. It's a nice course. So yeah, so in that course what they do is to challenge you to think about what next, and I've been thinking about what next for me, because the difficulty with completing a PhD, having a position like mine, is that you easily can get tempted to think you've arrived, and your life is actually just beginning to impact on other people now.
Surely.
So I would want to do more things that now impact on other people beyond my students, community. If I go back to my community, what can I contribute? So I am part of networks, development networks here and there. I sit on the board of Uganda Media Women's Association as the vice chairperson, and I want to use those platforms to contribute to ensure that I understand what they need to be able to leverage their position, their space, and also to use it positively for other women. There are many women in media. They could be used to expand this space for voice, for women's voice. And that's part of my passion, and I hope that I can contribute. But of course, the next 2 years, I think I want to spend them writing. I have spent a lot of time studying, and now it's time to really write.
You have a book in mind? A book? Or are we talking about writing, for example, journals or articles?
No, I am thinking of writing a book, actually. The thing that happened was my research on women really produced a lot of material that I feel, if it is not used, will be wasted. I did a very big research. So I'm planning to do a book. I'm planning to leave my life open to opportunities, to possibilities that might come.
Oh, wow. That's really nice, honestly. That's really nice. And then if we were to sit 1 year from here, let me say 2 years, like you've said, what will we be celebrating about, that whole, what you've just mentioned, or what else do you think we shall be celebrating?
I'll stick to what I know. But I have control over. I think we'll be celebrating more work out there. I don't want to be the kind of academic who does papers for promotions. I want to be the academic that influences policy. My passion is public policy. I think a lot of failure in development has to do with the public policy process and how public policy is implemented in general. So I will be deliberate about that. I'm already getting involved in policy work here and there. And so I want to see how my department can at least influence the media policy landscape in this country. To influence the media environment in one way or another. There are laws that need to be reformed. There are laws that need to be off the shelf, and these require work to do. So those are the kinds of things that I want, when I'm gone, for people to say that this was her passion and this is what she was deliberate about, and she wanted to do this.
Indeed, that would be a very amazing footprint to be left behind, wouldn't it
so.
be? Wouldn't that be? I feel like so many women out there are getting inspired, and I feel like the core issue that you are actually tackling when it comes to policies, because if these policies are not changed, then it's a wastage of time, because there won't be any development. And even the advocacy that people advocate, and it won't be, put into reality. So I feel like if we have that changed, especially, it will give opportunity and room for people to develop, especially women, especially women. So I feel it's very important.
I see that I'm powerless to do for the women that I would want to change their lives, but if we influence policy, then we are allowing for more women to benefit from very little. So even if I wanted to have projects for women in my community are not women in this country. So it would still be a very tiny thing. It's important, yes, but then there are changes that could happen at a policy level, at a governmental level, that would really make a difference for women. And I think that and increasingly for everybody, because much as my passion is women, I'm also completely aware of the fact that the development agenda is changing so much that there are as many men struggling with unemployment as many women are. So the impact, of course, is bigger on women, but unemployment affects everybody.
Sure.
There was a point in time when I was the only employed person in my family, and that was difficult. And my siblings who were men didn't have jobs at that time. And so it's not discriminatory. If you are dealing with unemployment issues, then you have to deal with them and think about the society in general. Think about men and women who are productive in their lives, and they should be using their intelligence, their energy for something greater than not.
Amazing, truly amazing. So why don't you just give words, a word or two to someone out there who's watching, especially to the ladies, to the women out there, just go out and pour your heart.
The thing that really, thank you for this opportunity, and sometimes we don't really know who we are influencing at what point. The thing that really burdens my heart is having many educated women and then they have no jobs. We want to empower women and say they should go to school, but then so what when they have attained education? But like I said, we need to be prepared. Women need to find people who can inspire them. I was lucky that within my family there was somebody who inspired me so much. But there are always other women who are inspiring, who are open-hearted, who are willing to share, who are willing to support. And I don't believe that it's true that women don't want other women to succeed. One of the people that threw for me a party without me even knowing was a woman. Wow. One of my friends threw for me a big party, invited all my friends, and I just got to her home, and there were all these people to celebrate my PhD. There are women willing to celebrate other women, and there are women willing to empower other women. Look out for those. You don't have to look for the ones who are not wishing you well. Those will also be there. But you don't have to restrict yourself, to limit yourself. The confidence factor is a very important thing. A lot of women are so good, but they're not confident to put themselves out there. They're not confident to speak up. They're not confident to do certain things. So just get over it. And if you understand yourself and know that my problem is confidence, deal with it. If your problem is getting out there, deal with it. Everybody has problems of one kind or another, and it's important to understand ourselves. As women, the space is different for us than it is for men. It's very easy for men to blow their trumpet and say they are so good. But for us women, we want to be seen that we are good. It will take you time to discover that this woman is good. But when you do, you know that they're authentic. And I think that women have to learn to be authentic. They have to be good, but they also don't have to stay behind too much. They should get out there and be found and be known.
Wow, that's really nice. That's really nice.
Thank you.
Do we need to say more, really? With that, really? No, I don't think so. I really don't think we need to say more. It has all been said and well said, but none other than Dr. Emily Comfort Maractho. It has been very delightful spending time with her this Sunday afternoon, and I can't wait really to see her yet again, and I hope you will come, right?
Yes, I will. Now that I've come.
It has been very nice.
Thank you. I've also enjoyed having this conversation. Thank you.
You're welcome. It has been very nice. It is her moment, and it has been nice also having you. We believe that this has been a very inspirational segment, a very inspirational episode. That's all. To all of you out there, have yourselves a very wonderful weekend. My name is Nara Osendo.